And when I said 13,000 patients, that's the maximum amount this place ever had. Think about how many people that is. So no matter how hard they pulled and ripped on this, there was no way they were getting out. They were locked in here like an animal. Who knows, even some lobotomies could have been performed right in these rooms. Right now we're inside of a massive abandoned state hospital. This place opened up in the 1830s and at one point was housing over 13,000 patients. We just went through a jungle to get in here of overgrowth, and now we're going to take you around and show you this legendary location. If you haven't already, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and like always, let's explore more. This place is super creepy, and I'm not just saying that because it's an asylum and, you know, being in these big, huge, dark buildings can feel a bit sketchy, but we're used to that. These places had such a horrific history that being in them, just walking around, you can feel that in the air. These patients were not treated well at all. They went through electroshock therapy, insulin shock therapy, lobotomies. There's even kids being held in metal cages in this place. Just think about that. Think about what went on in these buildings. It's just, it blows your mind to think about what was going on with the patients here and how they let that happen, how they thought that was actually all right. So just keep that in mind as we walk around and explore this place. I know it's empty now and it's quiet, but it was once filled with life. It was once filled with innocent people who needed help. You see, nature is taking over this place and the vines are growing through the holes in the windows. Right in this patient ward, this was where a patient lived and slept. They would have one bed in there. Obviously this would have a door, but you know, not too much room. These do seem a lot bigger than the traditional asylum rooms. They have huge ceilings, probably almost like a 12 or 15 foot ceiling, which is crazy. But there's a lot more. So we're gonna keep going and check it out. This room, I wanted to show you the kind of doors that were on here. And what they had these little glass windows. You can see it. And that actually is glass. I'm surprised it's still here from all those years, but big, huge metal doors. And like always, they were locked with a key from the outside, so these patients were not getting out of here. They were locked in all night. Sorry, I'm kind of like whispering. This place is super echoey. There were some workers outside. We just don't want to take the risk, so we just like to talk quiet and just listen to what's happening around us. That's always like a big part of advice that I would give people when they start exploring. It's easy to forget that you're not supposed to be in these places, so we have to do our best to remain stealthy and quiet. Down at the end of the hallway is this big common room area. You can see how overgrown it is by all the green in the windows. It's pretty crazy here. But this was where all the patients would get together in this room where they can sit and probably have some free time for activities. I mean, obviously they were monitored, but this is where they would be. Now it's going to be empty forever. I just want to show everybody how overgrown it was. This is where we had to go through. And you can see the building over there. All this in the middle, that's what we went through to get into this place. So it was like a jungle getting in here. It was crazy. So right now we're actually at the main entrance of this place. This is where everybody would first walk into this building. The patients, doctors, nurses, whoever was working here. This was the first sight they saw. You can tell just by how it looks, how dated, how old it is. Very elegant style, very ornate, I would say. But it is amazing to see this place. It's just so old. There's so much history here, and I can't believe how well it's preserved. I will say this. Walking down these hallways, this place does have the craziest hallways. You can like see all the way through to the other side. Just a massive building. Whoa, you guys hear that? What was that? It sounded like something moving. Like something shaking. And now I'm gonna head down this other hallway. This was where more patients lived. These were their wards. You can just tell by the architecture. Look at this. Looks really crazy. But just before I did hear that weird noise, I don't know what that was. I haven't been hearing that the whole time we were in here. That was something new. So I'm always listening for different sounds and what it could be. But that was definitely strange. I will say that. But let's just head down here. We'll keep exploring and try not to worry about the paranormal stuff too much. But I do think there could be spirits inside this place, just based on the age and what happened here. In the laboratory of the state hospital, this is where blood samples for the patients would be kept, right in this cabinet. All their blood was left here to be experimented on, to be used in tests, all that stuff. You know, being abandoned for over 40 years, this place doesn't have much left in it, but it does have the structure. It has the bones of what it looked like back in the day. And we can see, as we look over, there's some sinks, got some boards on the walls, and even over here, just super decayed, and honestly, it's getting ready to fall down, but I'm glad that we're here and able to document this place one more time before it's too late. This place looks crazy in here. You can look, all the ceiling is coming down, the light fixtures are coming down, the windows are blown out. There's vines growing in this place. It's almost like nature's trying to wipe it off the map and just reclaim it. Make everybody forget what happened here. Right down the hall from the laboratory is this section here. I know this looks like a morgue, but this is actually a bunch of autoclaves, and this was meant to clean medical devices, medical instruments, you know, stuff used in surgeries, stuff used to do autopsy. All that was brought here and to be cleaned and sterilized so it could be used again. We just got upstairs to the top floor. This was more wards, more areas where patients would live, and it's just crazy how many rooms are in this place. It's like every time you turn the corner, there's another hallway filled with doors, filled with rooms. It just never ends. Find some like random magazines and stuff thrown in here. This one's all about like the medical system and mental health. This is one of the patient rooms. Look at that overgrowth. And we're on the top floor, so this grew all the way up the building and pushed through the glass to get in. And eventually this place will just be covered with greenery and overgrowth, which is amazing because it definitely adds to the vibe. It gives it that apocalyptic feeling. I'm still just wandering around these patient wards. There's some really nice colors and looks really cool through here with this decay. Like I said before, this place has been closed for about 40 years now, so the condition that it's in is just amazing, and it does take time for building to look this amazing. But I just found something that was so freaking cool, and I didn't even notice. I almost walked right by it. As we go in this room, look at that. One of the patient tubs, one of the original patient tubs that was in this place. And when I see stuff like this, I just always think about the patients and who was using this, you know, who was the last person to use it. You know, so much goes through my mind when I see stuff like this. It's just a remnant from the past left over, and it's just truly amazing to witness this and see this right now in front of my eyes. So this state hospital was known for doing hydrotherapy, so this could have been used for that. Now, I don't know technically if it was. It does just look like a normal bathtub, but with the history of this place, it most likely was used for hydrotherapy of some sort at one point. I was looking in this room and I found this old magazine from March 1978. That's a year before this place closed. And it's just a medical magazine. You can see all this stuff in there. Really interesting to see this. I can't believe how well preserved it is after all these years. It's just been sitting on the shelf, just waiting for someone to look through it. Luckily I was here. Oh my god, that is crazy. Wow. This is so weird seeing all this. It's just like frozen in time. It's been here. You can see all this stuff, all this medicine and everything. It's like medicine ads. And this magazine was actually sent to a doctor that used to work here. I'm not going to show his name, but that's why this is here. Good but creepy example of a patient room. We're going to take you in, I'm going to show you the screens that would be on the doors, and this is probably what it would look like while this place was active. So we come into the room, just like the ones downstairs, huge metal door. You're definitely not getting out of this, it was locked from the outside always. You had your one little window. As we come in here, you can see very small size, but let's take a look. Check out these. Look at these were locked. And this was the screen, so no one can get to the window. And this goes all the way up. And it's even locked up there too. So no matter how hard they pulled and ripped on this, there was no way they were getting out. They were locked in here like an animal. Crazy to think that I'm standing in a patient's room of this place. The patient could have been here in 1850. That long ago, they could have been in this same exact room I'm standing in. Just found this bathroom. I thought this was really neat. These old patient tubs, they're back to back. There's this wall separates them. But this is what I thought was really interesting. I found this in one of the tubs. I'm not even sure what this is. I've never seen one of these before. Maybe some sort of examination paper. If a patient was being examined, this would be filled out. Has a lot of this in the back too. Really mysterious. The longer that we're in here, the cooler stuff we're finding. This right now is a patient file. Now this patient file is from 1975. It's still in really good condition. You can see it's talking about a person being admitted. They were a truck driver. They drank a lot of alcohol. They were a heavy smoker. They were 5'10". Just crazy, you know? This is someone's life, you know? I wonder where they are now. I wonder if this place helped them. I know this was toward the end of this place's life. This was towards 76 was when this person was discharged, so they were only here for 1 year. Not even. But it's really crazy to see this, and it's awesome. You got a piece of history right in front of our eyes. There was even this old medicine box left over, geocillin. And you can see on when it expired. December 1st, 1979. So it's this box has just been sitting here for all those years. I'm not sure what this is. It does say, warning, radioactive drugs must be handled by qualified personnel. I am not sure what this is. It doesn't really have a label on it. The inside is like thick lead, which would make sense if this was radioactive, but probably shouldn't be touching this. I just thought it was amazing and I should show you. If anyone knows what this is, please let me know. I don't know what kind of radioactive drugs they were using in this place, but here's evidence of it right here. And some old dressings in this place, probably for the patients, you know, to help them if they got injured. But I haven't seen much left behind, but this was definitely one thing that was tucked away after all those years, still in this shape. Another patient ward. This place is filled with them. And when I said 13,000 patients, that's the maximum amount this place ever had. Think about how many people that is. The most of these that we go to had like a max of like 4,000, 3,000. So having an extra 10,000 patients, that's intense. Got up to the actual top floor, and you can see this staircase here has this metal fencing. This was put in so patients couldn't jump off. Pretty wild to think about that. So we're wandering these wards, and I noticed this. What do you guys think? Do you think this is for delivery room? Del room? I think this was delivery room, to be honest. So the delivery room is the nursery, which I just kind of put two and two together, but it makes perfect sense. And here's where the children would stay, probably on this floor. just came across this old piece of medical equipment, and knowing that the delivery room was right down the hallway, I think that this was used in surgeries and used in the delivery of babies in this place. Has, right here on this pole, has slots for oxygen tanks and even nitrous oxide. And it's probably from like the 70s based off the look. But it's crazy that they just left this thing behind. You know, was essential for the surgeries that they were doing, the procedures they were doing. These big rooms were actually waiting rooms, and it seems like the top floor of this place was mainly for patient treatment. So they would wait in here while they were getting ready to go have treatment done on them. So you can just imagine this place just filled with chairs and all the patients sitting in here together. More examples of patient treatment in this place. Here was the urology clinic. Here was their urology department. This probably had a nurse or a doctor. This was their office. One more example of patient treatment on this floor. Here was the ENT clinic and the chest clinic. This is actually something that's really cool, and we'd find this a lot in hospitals, especially like asylums, things like that. This was for a surgical room, surgical suite. This would be on the wall, and this would be, all the instruments would be in their place. If one of them was missing, they would know potentially a patient could have that, could use it to hurt themselves or other patients. So this was their way of making sure that everything was where it was supposed to be and nothing was missing. We're on the last floor here. We found some more patient rooms, nurse's station. We actually found surgical suites, which we're going to show you in 1 second, but I just found an elevator shaft that drops all the way down to the floor. I have to show you this. It's crazy. Just walk right here. If you miss your step, you are dead. You are so dead. Can't believe how far down that goes. It's so sketch. And if you look up, it even goes up further. Wow. Imagine that. Imagine falling down that. No thanks. It's a surgery suite. This is where patients would come to have surgeries, operations done on them. Who knows, even some lobotomies could have been performed right in these rooms. Let's go check them out. Here's actually one of them right here. And you can tell by the tile on the sides, and right above must have been a fixture for some sort of lighting. But I bet right here was once a table, and this is a room where patients were operated on. Crazy to think about that. All those years passed, all those surgeries, all those people who were affected. And it started right here in this room. Here's actually the control for that light. I know the light's not there, but this was the dual video surgical light controls to turn it on or off. This is actually in one of the surgical suites. It's an intercom system. And I'm sure that the doctors, if something happened, they would press this button down and say, "Hey, can you bring a stretcher up to the top floor? A patient just passed away." You know, stuff like that. And it's weird to think about it and kind of to go through and say that even, it just feels weird. Because that's what happened here, you know, that's the truth. And it just feels weird. Even just being in this operating room, just honestly feels like it's hard to breathe, and just knowing what happened to the patients is super sad. The last surgical suite actually still has the light left in it. This is the light that would be over the bodies while they were being operated on. This was the observation light, and it's still here after all these years. Think about everything this thing saw, all the people that were underneath it, all the doctors that worked underneath it. It's just an incredible piece of history left here to be forgotten about, that holds so much memory and so much feeling, and it's just amazing to see this and just to witness this. We're down to the basement, and we're looking for something very special, a very unique thing that was in a lot of these mental hospitals, state hospitals, something that they needed, but it's also something that reminds us of what actually happened in these places. This room is almost like a laboratory, and this is where patients would be wheeled through once they died here. They were pushed right through these doors and right to the morgue. So right around this corner was the morgue that this state hospital had. 13,000 patients passed through here, and I'm sure a lot of them didn't make it out, and they ended up in this morgue. So we're exploring this, and we're showing you this with the respect for the patients that were here, and whoever was here, actually trying to help them and give them the care they needed. So right near the morgue is actually this room, and you can see there's a lot of wood and debris in the ground, and also there's like a big observation light. So what I think this was the autopsy room. I think that light was used to look at the patient's bodies to find a reason why they passed away. So I think that was actually right here in this room. And time has not been good to this room. The whole entire ceiling has fell down. Lots of decay. But just try to picture that. A table here, a patient laying on the table, and a doctor or the mortician examining their body. Made it to the morgue. A 9-person morgue. This is where the patients, once they died, once they were deceased, they would come and lay on these body tables. A mortician would put them in, examine their bodies in the same room. And this was their resting place while they were here before they were moved. There was a cemetery on the campus, but there was unmarked graves. So this pretty much like was their final resting place. And as we get closer, you can see these body trays that once held the bodies of patients who died here are now filled with water. And it's like constantly dripping, you know. For me, that's like a symbol of like sadness, like it's like crying almost for the patients. It's very sad, very strange and eerie feeling in here. But it is amazing to witness this and see this. This is history right in front of us. This is the American history of mental health, and unfortunately it ended with patients being put in here. Actually one of the body trays that doesn't have water in it, so you can just get an idea of what it was actually like. Definitely a very heavy feeling when you're at a place like this, especially near the morgue. I mean, the building was creepy to begin with, but when you see this, it just really makes it real. This is the truth behind what happened. Alright everyone, we're going to end the video right here. We just explored this massive asylum. Like I said earlier, it opened up in the 1830s and it closed around 1970, 1980. It's been abandoned for a while. There's a lot of natural decay in this place. But besides that, this place saw so much life at one point. And it saw so much death as well. We're right near the morgue. And I just want to let you guys know that as you watch these videos, as creepy and as scary as it is, this was actually someone's life. Someone went through this. This was a part of American history. So we want to teach people and we want to show them it's not all about the creepiness. It's not all about the scary. We come here to explore history, and we want to show you guys that and bring you along with us. If you did enjoy that, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, and like always, don't forget to get out and explore more. Peace.